So when you've had a couple more seasons, you didn't play as much as us when Gianfranco come in. You didn't play as much as you.
I played initially. I played like the first handful of games. I remember that we had training, and he wanted to play one up top with two inverted strikers in behind. I'm going to play this game. I've done really well in just off the striker, and he goes. So he put me in for the first half dozen games, and I played. I scored 2 or 3 goals, I think, in that time. But I was in a bad place with my gambling. My head wasn't right, and stupidly and. I just wasn't. I wasn't focused on my football at the time.
Of course,
he was trying to. He liked me as a player. He was trying to give me advice. He wanted me to get into yoga because of my back. But I wasn't interested. I didn't want to listen. And now I look back on it, and I think, Gianfranco Zola, probably one of the best players ever to play in the Premier League. And at that time, where my head was all over the place, I didn't want to listen to him. And it's just mental. But that was a place I was in then, through no fault of my own. But it was what it was, and then I thought he thought, right, I've got to get rid of him. So
is that
that's
a big
what
regret
happened.
of your not?
Yeah, massive regret. That's one of the biggest regrets I got in football, was not listening to him, because he was a good man.
Yeah,
he was a really good man.
I felt
great
sorry
footballer
for the way he was treated by the club.
Yeah, he had a lot of good ideas.
Yeah,
he had a lot of good ideas, and initially, it was going well for him, wasn't it? And it kind of fizzled out in the end. But I know he's gone to Italy now, and it didn't work out there, and he's got the sack. But I honestly do think, with the right man alongside him, a more experienced head, that he'd do well in management.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the greatest ever, isn't it?
He is. Yeah, he's unbelievable.
You touched on your gambling now. I don't want to go too much into it. I mean, you spoke about it, plenty. But when you left, I mean, was that one of the reasons why you left? Was it get away from London?
I just needed a fresh start. My head was all over the place. I wasn't concentrating solely on my football, which is what I needed to concentrate on. And that was one of the main reasons. So it kind of, the way I left the club after doing so well here, it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. But it was through no fault of my own. I'm not blaming no one else, don't get me wrong. But I just wish that I could have left differently.
Yeah.
Did you? I'll touch on it a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Did you blame anyone? I mean, gambling's gambling. At the end of the day, but. Do you blame someone for not taking you aside and saying, "Look, Matt"?
Do you know what? Pardew, Kerbishley,
they all did.
They all did, but I didn't want to listen until. And I don't want to get into it too deeply, but until you want to help yourself, until you want to listen to people, you've got no chance. And I didn't want to listen at the time, so that was what it is. And it was just it just become all-consuming. It's all I thought about, and it's crazy to think when I'm playing for West Ham United, one of the best clubs in the world, but I couldn't get out of the rut, and I had to move away to do that. As simple as that, really.
So you went to Stoke. Good time there?
Do you know what? I had a good time there. Well, I've got a lot of time for that club. I know it's not many people's cup of tea, but they've got good people there, good loyal people. And I played well there. I got Player of the Year again in my first season. I got to a cup final, played in Europe again, and done really well.
I find Stoke a similar sort of club to West Ham. With the fan base and the loyalty there. And like
definitely the fans. I can relate to that without a doubt. If you do well for them, they'll stick by you. They'll look after you. So I had good times there. Well, I can't say I didn't, because I really did. They're a good club.
How did you feel about leaving? Obviously, you said you was gambling and that. But did you think to yourself, I've got a bit of unfinished business here, Did you feel that you could go forward with the club, or was it just I've done my time here and
what at Stoke?
West Ham. Sorry.
No, it was purely on the gambling side. That's the reason I left. I didn't want to leave. I was settled here, but I knew for my own sake and for my future I had to leave, because I was getting myself into so much trouble, and it was time to go. As simple as that, really. And if I'd had my time again, obviously I wouldn't do it, and I'd love to have stayed at West Ham for the rest of my career, but unfortunately it didn't work out that way.
Yeah. When you did leave Stoke, your contract ran down. You went to train with Millwall again for your sins.
I'll tell you about that story in a minute.
But it didn't work out there, and then you retired with your back injury. You're obviously going into punditry now. But apart from that, is there any plans to go back into football? Would you like to get back into the coaching side?
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm doing my badges in the summer, and something that interests me. I'm not sure how much it interests me just yet, but it's good to fall back on, because I've seen managers and I've spoken to managers, and being a manager is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's non-stop, and obviously you get paid pretty well for it. Don't get me wrong, but it's and I've come to the point now where I want to be with my family, and I don't want to be away from home that often and stuff. So punditry side does interest me, but we'll see what happens. With regards to I went train with West Ham for 3 weeks as well.
And was you close to joining the club?
Well, the first week I'd done really well, and Sam said to me, I'm going to offer you something. He said, I can't offer you what you were on previously, and I said, no, I don't want that. I said, I just, and in my head I thought to myself, you know what, this will be the perfect way to end my career, come back here. But it probably was for the best that I didn't sign, because I wasn't the player I was. And we played a practice game a week later. We played 30 minutes and Sam refereed it, and Ravel played, Zarate, Sacco, all the new signings, Valencia, and done really well. We were 4-0 up at half time. I scored one, set up a couple, and I thought, I feel good here. Maybe I've got a second wind in me, another year in me or whatever. And then the second 30 minutes, my back completely went. So Sam's seen it. He's not stupid. He's seen first half I was going past Mel like he went there. Second half he was taking it off me like a little schoolboy. So my back had just completely locked up. And
so you was 30 minutes away from rejoining.
Yeah, maybe. But it just didn't work out, and it was probably for the best. And and then 6 weeks later, I knew in my head then I was going to retire, but I wanted to keep myself fit, and Holloway texted me and said, do you want to go down to Millwall? Do you know what, I'll never forget driving down, because I've got a lot of West Ham fans and not a lot of West Ham fans, a lot of West Ham friends, and when they heard that I was going down there, I can't tell you that stick that I was getting. It felt wrong going in there, and this is God's honest truth. Even going to the training ground, it just felt wrong. Like it was the weirdest feeling. I had one day there, my back had gone. I trained and my back had gone, and I thought, I ain't coming back here.
Getting in
that
the
was it. And I called Holloway, said thanks, but no thanks, and that was it. And then I retired a few weeks later. So
do you still remember when you went in there? I don't know, I mean, it was a few years past, it's 10 years, but was anyone still there from the St Mother's Day Massacre, as they called it? The 6, what was it?
4-1, wasn't it?
At Millwall.
When we lost 4-1 in the Championship.
Did anyone sort of remind you of that when you
No, they didn't, to be fair. No, they didn't. I just felt so sheepish going in there. It was the weirdest thing. I can't, honestly, God's honest truth, I can't tell you how I felt going in there. It was the weirdest, because obviously they got people there at training ground that have been there for years. They know the history. Obviously me being at West Ham and that, so it would...
you sort of covering your head just in case there's a fan there.
Me being the paranoid person that I am, I thought, I'm going to go to the training ground and there's going to be Millwall fans outside. So, no, it didn't feel right, and it didn't happen, thank God. Wembley, but it's still a great stadium. It's a day out for the fans or whatever, but Wembley's Wembley, innit? Anyway, so, but and on the way to Cardiff to the stadium, I just remember the streets lined. The bus drove down the streets, and the streets were lined with West Ham fans and all the flags out and that, and we drove through that, and that was amazing. And that was one